Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 6 of the Destiny and Beyond Gaming podcast. I'm your host, Vigilant, and today I am joined by my friends Proxy
Hello, all. What's going on?
and Killagreg.
Hello.
And today we have a pretty exciting topic to break down for you guys. We're going to be talking about all of the raid encounters from Destiny 1 and Destiny 2. This week, as part 1, we'll be taking a look at all the raid encounters in Destiny 1.
Love them, hate them, love to hate them. One of the two. All three, maybe.
Every raid is like a mixture of both, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, some news up front. We have a giveaway going on today for Forsaken, for the Destiny 2 Forsaken DLC. And if you're listening to this, you might know that. You got what you guys are listening for right now are 3 code words hidden within the episode. So we'll go ahead and give you the first one right now. Go ahead and post this when you hear all 3 onto our Facebook. The first code word is Prateth. Kind of ties in with the theme of the week.
That's right.
So how was your guys' week?
Oh, my week was good. Just, work, grindstone. It feels like I did a lot of grinding on the grindstone. I feel injured from it.
Yeah, you were in really rough shape from you hurt your arm or something, right?
Yeah. No, I was doing some electrical work and I cut my arm pretty good. Had a whole bunch of stitches and ugly mess, blood loss, infection. It was great, good time. Nothing
Whoa.
like nearly dying for your job that you love, I guess.
Yeah,
Mind you, I prefer to just love it and not die from it. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's fine. I'm glad you're willing to sacrifice for what you love. That's a sign of a good man.
Being an electrician is not easy, and someone needs to do it, and you're doing a good job, man. Bringing the light to Canada.
Exactly. It was a massive power outage. I could have, it was, people needed power, it had to get done, but we were working long hours and in the dark and in a pretty rough spot in a remote area. It was rough, but it got done. Work safe, people. It's important.
Well, in other news, this week just recently dropped from, how do you say his name? Jason Schreier? Is it?
I think that's right, yeah.
Jason Schreier? He's a pretty prolific, pretty well-known Destiny content producer over on Kotaku. He released an article stating about how Activision may not be happy with the sales of Destiny 2, Forsaken specifically. Did you guys get a chance to read this article?
Yeah, I know. Activision, what was it? They're not happy with the Forsaken sales, I believe it was, is what they were saying.
So this is very interesting because we're in a time in Destiny where the game is probably in the best spot it's ever been in. Consumer confidence and happiness could not be like on a higher level right now, Everyone's loving Forsaken. Everybody's loving Destiny, like the people that are still involved anyway. And this kind of blows my mind. I would not have expected the game to be suffering from a sales point of view.
I have to agree. As a longtime Destiny player, as a consumer, I think the game is in a great place. But I can understand why they might think the sales are suffering, and maybe they are. Destiny was in a rough place for a while, so maybe people who have it don't really want to come back right away. I can understand how sales might be slow, but I don't think it's going to be. I don't know. I don't think it's going to stay that way for very long, as word gets out as to how it's doing. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I have some mixed feelings about it, honestly. I think it's interesting. I'm curious. Video game statistics, like sales-wise, are very hard to come by. Like, there's the MPDs, but they're a third-party thing, and they basically just try to guess. Like, they'll give you the best estimate of what they're selling. Video game companies are really unforthcoming with actual information. So I'm curious what they consider, lackluster sales. Is it 1 million? Is it 2 million? Did they expect 4 million? Ed and I were talking about it. Destiny is what? Activision's 5th largest title? Which is crazy to think about. At any other publisher, Destiny would be their biggest title by far. But this is because Blizzard's lumped in with that. This is behind World of Warcraft, behind Overwatch, behind Call of Duty, all these other things. There was one other one that you listed. What was it? Do you remember?
Yeah, Hearthstone.
Oh, Hearthstone, right. So, Destiny might still be the fifth best-selling game or Forsaken might still be the fifth best-selling game of the year, but they might still be disappointed. So just because they're disappointed doesn't necessarily mean that it's, sales are bad per se. They might have just had too lofty goals.
Yeah, they may not be far off the mark on what they're looking for. Gaming in general is moving towards different monetization trends. Like, if you look at the difference between, say, Diablo 3 and Path of Exile, Diablo 3 had a pretty hefty buy-in, and it's a pretty, I don't want to say a casual experience, but it's entertainment focused. The whole goal of that game is just to have fun. There's not that much depth, but games like Path of Exile give you a lot of depth in character creation, in builds, there's a lot of depth to the gameplay that you just don't see in Diablo 3. And they go ahead and they make the game free up front, and then they monetize the game by making things easier to do. Like, not easier as far as content, but as far as like managing your items, managing your stash, your loot. So it's interesting to think about how Activision's going to force Bungie's hand in a way to make the game more monetized. I'm very curious to see how they go about it.
Yeah, here's the quote from the Kotaku article, which is actually a quote from the actual conference call this is from. We have not yet seen the full core re-engagement in Destiny, which has led to the underperformance against expectations to date. Some players are in wait-and-see mode. If you're in, you're deeply engaged, which we find to be true. If not, we think now's the time to bring players back. So it appears, that the what do I want to say? The disenfranchisement of the core gamer from the original D2, like vanilla D2, did have a much more lasting effect than I personally ever gave it credit for.
Here's my big thing about this. Up front, it sounds like if you take Anon, the guy who is very well known in the community, very credible data leaker, if you take him at his word, we have a whole nother year of another Forsaken-sized DLC before we get Destiny 3. But if Activision wants to re-engage players on a Destiny 2 level, could we possibly see that time frame moved up? And if we see it moved up, is it going to fail like Destiny 2 did initially? Because, I mean, you could argue that Destiny 2 had like some amazing aspects to it. It was a great base of a game, but it felt very much like a beta for almost the entire year. Regardless of the amount of content we got, it was still pretty sparse. I'm really hoping that this doesn't mean we're going to see Destiny 3 get pushed too quickly. And if you look at the game right now, the monetization in the game, like in the Eververse store, isn't very overbearing. It's there for people who want it, but it's not crazy. And it really makes me wonder what they're going to do to actually re-engage players and make it more monetized.
Yeah, I have to say, if they're going to, like, another year of Forsaken style DLC, I mean, that's going to keep anyone who's currently invested in the game around, no problem. I really do think that, Killagreg, like you pointed out with the article, it really is in, like the article stated, a lot of people are in wait and see mode. And I think that's very accurate because the first year, the game took a pretty huge hit, and it's how to get people to come back to the game, which I think is why they had that free weekend or like the free period to let people play Destiny for free. And I think that's a good idea because the game is in such a strong place that, like, I can't imagine anyone who plays the game is not going to want to keep playing the game, basically. Um, and I mean, if you have like another year of DLC, like what we just had, it's going to be great. Speaking about monetizing the game, I like the way that they have Eververse now, wherein for like, say, if they want to release, a particular emote or something for like $10, like they had for Iron Banner, or like a special dance for, the Festival of the Lost, I was all for that. I think that's great because then people who want to, support the game, they can support the game and get something unique. That's wonderful. Do I think they're going to rush the rush the DLC that they have coming down the pipeline? I can't imagine they'd do that because I think they would have learned their lesson from I think they would have learned lesson from rushing content already from Destiny 1 or from Destiny 2.
You would hope that, absolutely. But if they're looking at it from a purely business point of view and just looking for, like, say you don't know anything about Destiny and you're just a guy in the business side of things and you're looking to increase profits to shareholders. Destiny 2 didn't fail monetarily. It wasn't lacking. A lot of people bought into Destiny 2. That said, the game shook the player base. It almost ruined Destiny, but it sold well. So, like, if you're just looking at that, then why not copy that business model going forward? Because it obviously worked to provide sales.
Right. Yeah, it worked to provide sales. But the thing I'd have to say about that is, though, like, if you're going to monetize something, right, you're going to get continuous and repeated sales. So the question isn't so much just about like monetizing it in that kind of sense, like just getting sales and then not caring what happens. I mean, especially when you have, supposedly a third game in the pipeline, right? Like, like their 10-year vision. You certainly don't want to do anything to really kill the player base. You want to build it up more and then monetize it with in-game transactions like those particular emotes and whatnot, because you'll make more money off that. So I really can't imagine they're going to do anything to risk damaging the player base again. Like, they want to build it up more, right? They probably want to make it appeal, greatly to both casual and hardcore players, which is a pretty difficult thing to do.
So we'll just have to wait and see what happens, honestly. I mean, this is kind of like a scary article to see from people who love where Destiny is right now, because it can only mean a change is coming in some way when they're on a very good path right now. So I guess that wraps up our news segment. We can go ahead and jump right into the TWAB if you guys are ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
All right, so this week's TWAB was pretty cool. There actually is some good information involved. Right up front, they led with the fact that Season 4 is coming to a close on November 27th. So if you guys have any of your Crucible weapons that you're grinding for, like Luna's Howl and Not Forgotten, and your glory rank isn't to where it needs to be yet, go ahead and grind that out as fast as you can, because on the 27th, that's going to go ahead and reset. So you're going to want to make sure you've gotten that. The triumphs for Vanguard and Crucible seasonal ranks are going to reset. And Iron Banner comes back starting this next week on the 13th. So for all you completionists looking to get all your Iron Banner loot, make sure you hop in that. That's going to be pretty fun.
I don't know what it is, but there's something about Destiny 2 Iron Banner that just isn't as special as Destiny 1 Iron Banner.
Agreed. I don't know what it is either.
Like it feels the same. And level advantages are turned back on, right?
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, they were off for vanilla D2, right?
Yes, they were. Yeah, a lot of level advantages were disabled in vanilla D2. Yep.
I don't know. Maybe I do know what it is. I really liked that you got more rewards for, like, quote unquote celebrating the Iron Banner. I liked that, you got more tokens when you had an Iron Banner shader equipped and when you were wearing the Iron Banner armor and stuff like that. Like Destiny doesn't, it in that very specific thing, it did a tremendous job of making you feel like you were participating in an event. And I think I missed that.
It was the same thing with the factions, wasn't it? Like with the factions, like,
yeah,
wouldn't you get more XP for the factions if you were actually repping them?
Yep, which is great, and that makes so much sense to me.
Yeah, you get more stacks of renown. But I remember, I'm trying to think what it was about the original Destiny where Iron Banner was so good, because there was something just about getting that armor and grinding out Iron Banner. Like, because I remember in D1 when Iron Banner was out, everyone played it. Like, that was the thing to do, and it was so intense, And I haven't felt that about this Iron Banner in Destiny 2 at all so far. I'm trying to. I can't put my finger on what the difference is to me.
I gotta disagree. I really like where Iron Banner is right now. I really like the new control mode where you can lock down a flag or a zone if you get like the triple cap. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It produces a lot of great gameplay, and there's been like a good couple of weapons, and the armor designs like look awesome. I really like the claws of the wolf, right? The pulse rifle. That gun is an absolute beast. If you don't have that yet, make sure you jump in Iron Banner and get it, because it is great. And the fact that you can like level up yourself with all the powerful rewards, I think it's in a good spot right now. I think it's in a spot that would have been better for us had we not grinded so hard and we were behind the ball a little bit. Maybe it would be more appealing.
Yeah, that could be it. There is one thing that I have to add about that though. It's like the Iron Banner armor. It does look cool, but that's the one thing that I'm still somewhat dissatisfied with is that when you get the Iron Banner armor, it doesn't really do anything for you, right? Like nothing unique for an event armor. It doesn't really give you any kind of bonus at not even for just out in the world, but it doesn't give you any bonus for doing Iron Banner, which would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. And well, just to tackle on a little bit, back to your point, you are right. We ground pretty hardcore to get to a certain point, but the fact that I do these Iron Banner stuff and the loot that is dropping for me is 385. That's just drop it at 600 if that's where we're at.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So moving on, for console players out there, and I haven't been a console player since the first month of Destiny 2, but apparently loading times are an issue, and Bungie is addressing it with the start of Season 5. So starting on 527, or not 527, starting on 11/27, 11/27/18, when Season 5 goes live, they're going to be addressing the startup of the game, signing on, selecting your character, loading into activities, traveling throughout destinations, loading your inventory, switching between UI tabs. All of that loading time apparently is a problem on console, and they're going to be addressing it. I don't know. Have you guys experienced any of that? Have you guys been back on console at all?
Nope.
No. PC Master Race.
Oh, yeah. Apparently it's an issue, though. I've seen many posts about it. So I'm glad you guys are getting some love. It's about time. I mean, playing the game when you have like a 2-minute wait to get into the tower seems god-awful.
Oh, that would be brutal.
Yeah, that's brutal. Oh, well, I don't know. I already do find load times to be pretty egregious in Destiny 2, even on the PC. And I mean, my PC is a monster, but legitimately, I run a second business during load times. Like I buy and sell things online. I do all of that during the load times of Destiny 2. So maybe it is a bigger issue than I gave it credit for.
I don't know. I'm just thinking if I had a 2-minute wait in load times on a PS4, oh my god. If I was trying to play Destiny after I come back from work, sitting on a couch waiting for a 2-minute load time into the tower, I'd fall asleep.
Yeah.
I don't know. 5-minute or 2-minute load times, take little naps in between anything.
Even on PC, there is times where I'll queue for a Crucible match, and then just like go get a drink, use the bathroom real quick, come back, and then I'm not even flown in yet. So we feel you guys. If that's even longer on console, then our hearts go out to you guys.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Now, this weekend, Gambit is free again for all you free-to-play players out there. I know one person we're going to be giving a copy of Forsaken to. But for everybody else who's still free to play, enjoying the game, Gambit's going to be free again this weekend, and Double Infamy is going to be live. So go ahead and jump into that. Gambit is super fun, and there are some really good weapons that you can get if you can hit the seasonal rank ups. Like the first one, I believe you get the God Roll Trust, right, which is just a beast, and then your second rank up your second reset will give you the God Roll Bad Omens with tracking and cluster bombs, and that rocket launcher is awesome.
Yeah, it is.
It's like a mini Gallarhorn.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the trick definitely for doing well in Gambit is I would recommend for anyone when you're going in. I mean, if you're starting out, win or lose, you're going to get a lot of XP and level up really quickly and get some of those great items. But when you get to the other end, like try and get a full fire team, because I mean, man, a 5-win streak, with double infamy and triple infamy, my God, it's like you win 5 games and you reset your rank. It's great.
So since we're talking about Gambit, the free trial this weekend, I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out to all the LFGs out there. If you're free to play and you haven't checked out an LFG yet, do yourself a favor. Find an LFG on Discord or something. It's tremendously helpful for finding people to do things with. There's always people on looking to do things, and they're extremely helpful for the most part.
Yeah, you might even run into us on there, and we're always out to help people.
Absolutely. Next on the TWAB is a little bit on super tuning. So I don't know if you guys have noticed this. I don't think you would have Killagreg because you're not a hunter at all. But spectral blades for the since they've come out have been a little broken because the melee hit detection in the game isn't exactly where it needs to be, and that's being addressed in the upcoming patch. Spectral blades are getting kind of changed around a bit to be way more efficient. So what's happening is they're increasing melee lunge range of all attacks. They're reducing the cost of light melee attacks, increasing the number of consecutive hits required to speed up attack rate, decreasing the base attack speed to improve hit registration on intended targets. This is so that you don't hit like the wrong people, so that you can always kind of stay on target. Retune the melee targeting to have greater emphasis on player input, and they increase the viability of stealth mechanics. So basically, the TLDR is Spectral Blades is going to be good in PvP again, or for the first time. I don't think it's ever been bad, but it's going to be pushing the top tier, I'd say.
I heard that they're also what is it? Or perhaps I zoned out for a minute. My bad. But I think they're slowing down the rate. You'll be able to stay invisible longer. It won't drain your super as fast with Spectral Blades, which is going to be so good in Gambit if you invade. But I actually stopped using Spectral Blades because it was bugged out like it is here, or like it used to be. Because I remember I was doing it was on the Tangled Shore, and I was doing a mission. I had to invade or do a bunch of lost sectors, and I was trying to kill bosses in there. And I was doing quick slashes at the boss, and I would actually like his health would go down to virtually zero, and then it would regen up to halfway, or I'd kind of like phase through him almost. So I mean, like the hit detection was really an issue. I'm so happy to hear that they're fixing that because it's such a fun super to use.
The other super that's getting a change is Chaos Reach. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but Chaos Reach is supposed to be cancelable, and when you cancel it, you're supposed to like be able to keep your super, like an amount of super energy, so it doesn't drain all the way to zero every time.
I totally knew that. I was trying to do that in Gambit just yesterday, and I canceled my super. Or I tried. I was like, "Why is this not working?" It's so funny that they brought that up. I thought it was just me.
Yeah, they're addressing this completely. They're gonna make it so that it's more of a skill. It's more of a skill based super, wherein if you just cancel it right away after you kill like one target, it's gonna drain it. But if you can wait a second and then do it at the exact right time, it's gonna refund some of your super energy. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I really like Chaos Reach. I'm glad it's getting a bit of a buff. Do you guys have trouble targeting with Chaos Reach?
Yeah,
No?
sometimes. For me, I've noticed I've had a problem targeting if the enemies are like very near to just under me.
Yeah.
It's really hard to hit. It's because I'm like it looks like I'm blasting right like could not be more directly on them, but they don't take any damage. It's very weird.
Yeah, I've had the similar experience.
But as for like enemies far away, it seems to just vaporize them no problem.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't have that problem with that with Chaos Reach. I just always use it in the most pro way possible.
Well,
Well, we can't all be superstars like you, man.
yeah.
So they're also looking at introducing checkpoint resets for the Last Wish raid, which thank heavens, this is something that we've needed since the Last Wish came out. It's something that you don't appreciate until it's not there. Just being able to reset to zero on a raid in a given week, so you can just redo things if you want to redo them. Like getting stuck on like all your characters at vault, and then you want to do like Shirochi, or you want to go explore a little bit maybe. It can be an issue, and it's not an issue until you realize it is, and then it's a big issue. You know what I mean?
I agree. I mean, I didn't even notice that was an issue at first.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm just laughing because the last two things that you brought up, I never considered them a problem until literally 2 days ago, and that's when I noticed them all. That's why I kind of paused for a second. I laughed because I'm just like I remember doing not to go back to the Chaos Reach thing, but I remember spending like half of my super trying to kill a thrall that was right below me because I couldn't hit it, and I couldn't cancel my super. And then I was in the raid and I wanted to go back and kind of look around and try and figure out the puzzle, and I was like, I can't go back. And I literally just realized both those things yesterday. That's funny.
That's really funny. Yeah, it's been an issue. I've gotten to places where you're on an LFG and people want to do a fresh raid, and you're like, oh man, I'm at the vault. I don't have a fresh raid or anything. Or they want to do like maybe they want to do Shirochi to like get or Morgoth even to get the Nation of Beasts, right? And if you're too far ahead, then you can't be the person that's leading that. And it's the easiest to get in there and lead it. You know what I mean? So I'm glad they're addressing that. Another thing is they announced some Twitch streams, and this is actually pretty cool. Bungie's going to have a Bungie Bounty Gambit on Xbox One on November 12th at 12 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's pretty neat. It'll be interesting to watch the Bungie guys play Gambit and talk about it while they're playing. That's exciting. I'm even more excited though about the Bungie Last Wish raid along on November 19th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now, for any of you guys who haven't ever witnessed a raid along, what they do is it's the Bungie employees. They go through the raid and they talk about design choices. They talk about mechanics. They talk about how the raid came along and was developed. And it's exceptionally fun to watch, especially if you really enjoy Destiny as a greater experience than just the game you're playing. It's pretty cool. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I've actually never watched a raid along, so I don't know. But I am curious. I'm probably going to watch this one, definitely. I'm trying to think if I watched one for Destiny 1. I don't think I did.
Yeah, I didn't even know these existed until literally the second, but that sounds phenomenal. I the Valve games, like specifically Portal 2 I'm thinking of, they have like developer commentary that you can play along, and like there's like little speech bubbles that you can tap while you're playing the game, and it'll explain to you the process they were going when they were designing like that chamber or whatever. That's one of my favorite things in video games ever. So for them to take some time to go through and explain the decisions they made with this raid definitely interests me.
Oh yeah, I think you could probably go back and look at the old ones too. If you are just hearing about this, I think they have some archived ones too.
Yeah, like I really want to hear what they have to say about the Sorochi fight in Last Wish. So I'm really curious what sadist thought that thing up. That's all I'm going to say about that.
I love Shirochi, man. Next week we'll be rating that, and we'll see how other people feel about it. I guess that's like the perfect segue to jump into our on topic. But first, we're going to go ahead and give you guys code word number 2 for this Forsaken giveaway. Code word number 2 is Ephrodite. So go ahead and make sure you write that down. Ephrodite is code word number 2. All right, moving along to our on topic. This week, we are breaking down all the raid encounters in Destiny 1 from least to best, or from worst to best. We put out a bunch of polls this week asking the community to rate every raid encounter in Destiny 1, and we got a lot of feedback. And when I say a lot of feedback, I mean we got like 600 votes. Number 17, the absolute least favorite raid encounter from Destiny 1 is from Crota's End, and it's Ur-Yut, the Death Singer.
No.
Yeah, that I don't know. I barely remember that. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's just unmemorable.
Lucky.
We are going down a trip, but we're taking a trip through memory lane for sure. This is years ago, but the Death Stinger, if you remember her, like that encounter, when you get into that encounter and you play that encounter, it's not that hard when you understand like the mechanics of Destiny. Like if you took any player who is just playing Forsaken right now, going through all the things in the game as it's built up right now, they're going to go in this encounter and knock it out. But when Crota's End came out, we were all still pretty new to the series. They had yet to implement certain mechanics, and Ur-Yut was, for whatever reason, the perfect combination of annoying mechanics. I don't know if you guys remember this, but you had to like kill the wizards outside with 2 teams of 3, and then you'd go in, kill the Shrieker, then you'd come out, and then like wouldn't like the wall go down inside, and then you go fight Ur-Yut?
Yeah, you have like 30 seconds to run in and burn her down.
Yeah, and you had to do so much damage to her up front. So this is like the first time they like really had a burst heavy boss that would just kill you Shirochi style, right?
Yeah, in context now with the Last Wish raid, Death Singer's actually kind of cute because that's what Surochi is. Just you have to do it, 6 times instead of just once.
And I've made my feelings quite clear about Surochi, so no wonder that they match on with the Death Singer.
Well, I mean, you're betting on Shirochi not being popular, and Death Singer being the least favorite kind of is telling in a way, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it means I was right.
I think the one thing people really hated about this encounter was the Shriekers, because like the Shrieker mechanic in Destiny 1 was so brutal. When you killed the
Yeah.
Shrieker, it would shoot that purple shit at you that would just hunt you down and murder you. So having to deal with that wasn't fun. I think that's probably like the only part of that whole entire encounter that kind of sucked. I mean, surviving the Yellow Bar Knights was hard, but that was it. Like, I don't know. Nowadays it seems like such an easy encounter, especially past Orochi,
Totally.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, definitely. I mean, the Shriekers in Destiny 1 were brutal. I mean, I don't think there's anyone that ever liked seeing those.
I mean, like nowadays, like so Death Singer from Destiny 1, like nowadays in Destiny 2, if they were to put that encounter in a raid now, you wouldn't like obviously you wouldn't just be killing the Death Singer and avoiding the Knights, you'd be also having to solve a Rubik's Cube while doing it.
Yeah.
Right. God.
Very true.
So number 16 on the list is the bridge from Crota's End. Now, Killagreg and I talked about this. I'm not sure that I've ever actually done the bridge legit. So I don't know. I don't know if I can actually weigh in on this one too much. I don't know that I've ever actually experienced it. I've always done the cheese method.
Yeah.
You mean the cheese method when you jump across with a sword?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you like utilize the broken warlock mechanic to just come back from death.
I don't remember how often I did the cheese method. I remember doing the bridge quite. Actually, no, I think it was always the cheese method, because even if you jump across, once it establishes, the bridge spawns and everyone just runs across. I don't think I ever did it the legit way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think. Well, I mean, the cheese way was the way to do it, so I don't think anyone did it the legit way.
Right. Well, you were saying Lady Guardian had never cheesed anything, right?
Yeah. Lady Guardian was very, very shocked when I brought this up to her. She was saying that she never cheesed any of the any of the encounters in this raid, and it blew my mind because our experience is the exact opposite. We'd never experienced part of this raid,
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of funny. That encounter, it being so easily cheesable, just skip it. I mean, it was a raid lair for the most part because of the skips. Maybe it's a more of a real raid if we have to do everything. But I mean, everybody wanted that sweet loot from Crota, right? So
Yeah. Crota did have good loot. What was the name of the hand cannon?
I don't think I ever. Oh yeah, I did get the hand cannon. I don't remember. I was obsessed with getting the armor on my Titan because it looked so awesome.
no, crap, I cannot remember. Wasn't the black spindle also from this raid? Did that come from Death Singer?
That did come from Death Singer, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Yeah, there was some great stuff. So usually when it came to this raid, like you'd LFG it, and people would definitely just want to do the easiest ways possible to try to grind out those weapons.
Yeah. I remember Bungie came out and they were like, we wanted this to feel like an action movie. Like we wanted you to be running from thing to thing and constantly be pressing the attack. Like they basically, I don't know if it was, like a post-mortem where they were like, oh yeah, we wanted you to do this really quick. Or if they were, they really did truly intend that. But what makes, Crota's End to me was, it was a half-hour raid, but they kind of claim that they intended that. So the fact that you were, Ir Ute was a 2.5 minute encounter and the bridge was a 2 minute encounter, like they kind of say they designed that on purpose, but I think it goes to show that just simply doesn't work that much in Destiny. Like people want to take their time with the raid.
So number 15 on the list is the Vault of Glass, and it's opening the vault, which is raising the spire.
Love it. Vault of Glass is my baby. It's great. Should be number
You
one.
say, yeah, just opening the vault, number one. Atheon, number one. Gorgon's Labyrinth, number one. All of it.
How'd you guess?
I know. I don't agree with this at 15. I understand why you might put it there, because again, it's one of those encounters that's not terribly memorable. But as I'll hammer home as we go up the list a little bit, Vault of Glass has a very special place in my heart because it showed me that Destiny and just in general, like first-person shooters, could be more. Like when you load in and you start doing the spire or whatever it is, and like there's blueberries running around, like there's level 12s driving by you as you're doing this. It establishes that the vault is going to be something completely special, completely unique. So while it might be a slightly boring encounter, I would put it higher simply because it was literally, it was opening my eyes to something new. And then like when the actual vault itself just sort of cracks open and reveals itself to you, it's, I don't know, that's an emotional moment for me.
I would agree in that when you experience all the blueberries running around and the fact that they can help you open the vault, it made you realize that raiding in this game that we're playing is something more special than just like an aside, like it's an aside system that's set inside the game. You know what I mean? It's alive. It's in the world. It's something that is tangible for people who aren't even in your group. It's not a different game mode is what I'm going for. And that was special. That was special. How many times did we go around Venus and just see a whole group going into the raid, and what they're doing? You see the Praetorians running around, and you're like, oh man, I'm max level. I can help these guys out real quick. Let me whip out my Galahorn and just take down these Praetorians for them. And then you do a little wave and send them on their way. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So number 14 is the Basilica from King's Fall.
I don't remember this.
So that was right before the War Priest, right?
Was it? I'm thinking Basilica. What was that? Not opening up King's Fall?
Oh,
wouldn't that technically be the opening of King's Fall, which was like the running of the orbs to the statues?
Oh, right. I actually didn't mind that, provided you had a good runner. But I was shocked at how many times people would mess that up, right? Because if you died or the orbs expired, it reset it and you had to start back. And you only had so much time to do it before you just got destroyed.
The Basilica is considered the right before the War Priest.
Oh, so it's the whole entire section where you're running around getting the buff that charges the ruins, right?
Yes, that's what the Basilica is considered. I don't know what
right.
the actual opening of the Crota's End raid is called. We might not even have it on the list, honestly.
Yeah, we probably don't then.
I actually loved that mechanic. I liked that part. I thought it was a lot of fun. I was good at that too.
Me too. I like parts of raids that require everybody to do something. As we, as we go up to list, I'll bring this up again. But with the Basilica, everybody had to know what they were doing and everybody had to participate. You could, and while it's important that, part of what I like about the vault in the newest raid is that 3 people need to know what they're doing and 3 people don't. And that's sort of fine because it includes, it enables you to teach people. But the more people who are involved in a raid, the better, in my personal opinion.
I just remember the Basilica, and I remember when you have everyone doing their roles, and you had to split up the team in groups of 3, the left and the right. And the knights would spawn on top, and you'd have to kill the knights or they'd blow people up. I just loved it because you'd be counting down the seconds. You'd be like, "Knight's done," like I got the knight, or you could help out your teammates, right? Because when everyone had a job, if you ran it so efficiently, though, you could pick up the slack for people that were kind of falling behind. I really like that kind of teamwork in raids. That if you're functioning really well, some people can pick up the slack for other people that aren't doing as good. I don't really see that you can do that a lot in Last Wish.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you're saying, it allowed for those hero moments.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if it's because it's so mechanic heavy, but I mean it's because when something's mechanic heavy, you don't really have as you said, those hero moments where you can just be like, I got this, and you just run in and save it, Um, and because like in Crucible, for example, if you're a really skilled player, you can carry a team. But in raids, being a skilled player, you can't carry a team, Which, I mean, I don't think one player should be able to carry a raid.
Right, absolutely.
But I mean, maybe 3 or 4 strong players.
I did like in this encounter, like you hit on, Killagreg, that everyone had to do something, and they really moved on in this raid in Kingsfall, the very next raid, from the hey, in Crota's End, all you need is a sword bearer, or all you need is one person to do something crazy, or one person to stand out and do and save everything. In Kingsfall, they actually had everyone like have a specific role,
Mm-hmm.
and Basilica really kicked that off and really got you into the groove that would later be expanded upon with the rest of Kingsfall, because everybody has something to do in most of the steps.
I agree.
Number 13 is Vault of Glass, the Gatekeeper encounter.
Loved it.
Number 1. Yeah, I loved it too.
I love that you can just that everyone figured out that the 3 people that would get randomly teleported were just the people standing the furthest back to the wall.
Yeah,
that was good.
They patched that quickly.
Oh, they did.
Yep. I would say within the first month or so, they patched that, so it was actually random after that.
Man, I don't know about that. I remember doing that for a long time. I thought I was doing that for a long time before they patched it.
Maybe it was longer
not.
than that.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it was longer than that, because I remember that for a long time. The thing I liked about Vault of Glass when you're at the Gatekeeper is I don't know if some people noticed, but if you actually aimed in on a sniper rifle, you could actually see little pieces of glass floating up in the air.
Oh, that's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it was actually like shards of glass, like you could see them rotating. It was great.
It makes sense to me that this would be far down on the list, because those supplicants can eat my butt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nothing like thinking you're gonna win the encounter, and then you run out of the portal, and supplicants are right there because your teammates just haven't killed them.
They just suck.
Yep. And then you get exploded into the next raid attempt.
Yeah.
Oh man, I miss the Gatekeeper Vault of Glass. I loved Vault of Glass.
I know, me too. Something interesting about Vault of Glass is that even when I was high level, even when I went back, post Crota's End and stuff, while it was certainly easier, I never felt overpowered for Vault of Glass. It always gave me trouble, no matter what I was doing. I kind of miss that now. Now you go into, you can one phase, what's his name from Leviathan.
Yeah.
It's oh, okay. But, you could never just one phase Atheon. He was difficult throughout the entire course of Destiny 1.
I was going to say, when you went back being overpowered, did you find it was the boss was powerful enough that it gave you a challenge, or was it mechanically tough that it gave you a challenge?
I guess the best way to put it is that I always felt stressed. There was always Praetorians trying to attack me, and the word you just said, Ed, the harpies that were insane.
Oh, the supplicants.
The supplicants were always there. I was just always under duress. I could never just chill out and feel safe. I think Vault of Glass did a great job of just constantly throwing stuff at you.
Have they ever brought the supplicants or the Praetorians back in Destiny 2? I haven't seen them since.
I haven't seen them.
I don't think so. No. Knock on wood. Let's not jinx that.
Number 12 is Kingsfall, the Daughters of Oryx. This kind of makes sense to me. When you see the top 11, I think that's kind of going to make sense. The Daughters was fun, but it required an insane amount of collaboration on your team. Everyone had to jump on their platforms at the exact right time. And then whoever was jumping up the platforms had to do it just perfectly every time, or you just fail.
Those daughters need to be at the bottom of the list. So at the bottom of the list, they're not even on the list. I did not like that fight. Yes, it was interesting. Yes, it was fun. Yes, it was great. It was, all the stuff that you're supposed to like for a raid. I didn't like it. I like how I'm the only one that's like negative about stuff in the raid. I'm just like, no good. It sucked.
No bueno.
I have reasons to dislike everything on the bottom like 8 of this list. You know what I mean? The Daughters was fun, but I can see people's collective ire about that encounter. It wasn't as much fun as it could have been. It was more frustrating than anything else. But that said, did I hate every single time I played that encounter? Absolutely not.
Yeah. The worst thing that you can say about the Daughters, in my opinion, is that it was sort of unmemorable. Like it was just an encounter, and that kind of encounter is so commonplace now. Like that would be a strike boss at this point.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That was the part where like one person would phase out and they'd have to run around, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And you'd have to dunk the ball on it. That part was cool. But it's a lot of stress for one person. Like you mess up that jumping puzzle and everybody wipes.
Or for everybody else, if you don't jump on your platforms in like the correct order, then everybody wipes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just the perfect mix of annoying, really.
I wouldn't say it was bad. I just would say it was whatever. Like I mean, it's real middle of the pack, which makes sense because that's where it is on the list.
Number 11 is the Vault of Glass, the Gorgon's Labyrinth.
Didn't like it.
Yeah.
It gets the number 2
What don't
spot.
you like about it? And it's
It gets the number 2 spot. Number 2.
Worst encounter in the raid. Number 2.
The thing I didn't like about it was that even months after doing it, every time I go through there, even with people I had done it dozens of times with, they'd still get lost.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what? Come on, man. Or the worst thing is when you're trying to jump the rocks over the Gorgons and someone bumps you and the Gorgon detects you. It's just like, oh. Because for something so easy, you can wipe so many times on it. It's like the dogs in the Leviathan, right? When you're like sneaking around and then someone just goes too slow and it's like dog detects them and you don't have like 34 stacks of that stupid little flower. It's like, no.
But unlike the dogs in Leviathan, like the area where the Gorgon's Labyrinth is so huge and there's so much hidden in there. Like there's that chest in there. I think there was like a hidden ghost in there. There was something to find at one point. I'm if it wasn't a ghost, it was something else. But that area was so big, and once you kind of figured out how to avoid the Gorgons, it was a lot of fun to explore around there. I don't know if you guys ever just like walked around and saw how vast that area is, but it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, the Vault of Glass was a really cool place.
Yeah, it was the best.
Number 1.
No.
And number 2.
Yeah, right.
Well, you hit on this the other day when we were talking about it, Killagreg, in that you can explore the Vault of Glass and get lost in it in a way where you can't do that in the newer raids. The newer raids are very linear, very dialed in.
Yeah. Good luck getting lost in the labyrinth or in the Leviathan. I mean, I guess the underbelly, but that's I don't know. The underbelly still doesn't do anything for me. To me, it's more annoying than anything.
I was actually leading a raid through Leviathan. God, when was it? I think it was 2 weeks ago, and it was a bunch of new people. And I was like, "Oh, we have to go through the Castellum or whatever." And I was like, "No, we'll just go through the underbelly." And they're asking me, they're like, "How the hell?" They're like, "How the hell does this guy know where he's going?" And I'm like, "Once you get used to it, because everything down there is so distinct, right? Like there's the engine room, there's the aqueduct, the garden. Like it's very distinct. So I mean, it's very memorable where stuff is. Now, I mean, when I first went down there, it was confusing. Everyone got lost. But after a while, it's just like you just see your surroundings and know exactly where to go. But Vault of Glass, no, you could get lost in there. It was massive.
I'll always remember after the Templar fight, you could go through the big door behind him, or you could go through that little cave on the left, which is just a slightly more direct route to the exotic chest. But the first time I did it, my Sherpa took me through the left side, not the big door. And I just couldn't understand like where I was going or where I was falling and how not to die and stuff. And it really felt like an actual cave to me, not just a designed video game world.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. Also, like, I don't know, I wouldn't hate on the Gorgon's Labyrinth. I actually love that place because my clan at the time, whenever we would run through that, somebody would have like a soundboard, like something stupid on like a soundboard, like some sort of sneaking music, like from Scooby Doo or something, and they and they would play it every time we went through it, and everyone would just have a good time and laugh about it. So I don't know, it could be like really stressful in the wrong group, but in the right group, it was whatever. You're walking through an area and not getting detected, but it could be fun.
I had someone do that similar thing, except they used the Pink Panther song, which I thought was equally
That's what
fun.
it was.
Very
Was
funny.
it?
That's
Oh,
what it
okay, yeah,
was.
so it was da 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 whatever it was. Yeah.
Yep.
That was good.
It wasn't Scooby. Yeah, it was Pink Panther. Number 10, Wrath of the Machine, Vosik the Archpriest.
Oh.
Didn't do Wrath of the Machine.
Oh, wow.
I know, you missed out on one of the best raids in all of Destiny 1.
Interesting. Wrath of the Machine is pretty far down on my list of raids.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what
Mine
it is,
too.
man. not number one, doesn't matter.
I love that raid.
So Wrath of the Machine was a kind of a turning point, in my opinion, of raids, where it stopped feeling like a completely unexplored area and turned into video game design teams. Wrath of the Machine's super duper linear, and while it's a little bit cool, I don't quite understand the connection of where I'm going from one thing to the next. Like, it doesn't feel like a fully realized experience to me. It feels like 3 individual encounters that are stitched together. So like, I just feel like the Wrath of the Machine, while fun mechanically, is relatively uninspired as a Destiny raid.
Ugh. I don't know. I love Wrath of the Machine. I love the design of it. I love each encounter in it. I thought it was a lot of fun. That said, Vosik the Archpriest, I'm super surprised that he's number 10 because I had a good time with that guy. For me, that he was a really fun encounter. I still remember watching that live for the first clear, and people being stuck on him and not figuring out that you had to shoot the monitor.
Right. But even that goes to like why I don't love the Wrath of the Machine raid. Like, mechanically, getting his shield down, like, it doesn't make a tremendous amount of sense to me, like lore wise or whatever, and mechanic wise. Like, the balls drop from the ceiling. Why? Because it's time for balls to drop to the ceiling. You have to shoot the TV screens or else you wipe. Why? Because it's time to shoot the TV screens. Like, I don't understand why you were doing any of those things. Like, the disconnect between mechanics and lore or reasons why you're doing anything seem completely disconnected in all of Wrath of the Machine.
I don't know that it's very disconnected. I mean, I think that they're essentially trying to throw out those balls so that the Fallen can use them on you to kill you.
Yeah, but at no point does he ever do that. Like, if
I mean, they never do it, but I think that's the
if he
goal.
grabbed one and threw it at you, that would make total sense to me.
No, not him. His followers.
Oh, yeah, but see, that in my opinion, that would be if that's what they want to do. Lore is not the right word. I don't know. If that's what the reason they wanted to do that, then every now and then it would increase the danger of the encounter if you had to race his minions to them. I don't know. It's just like it started this lineage in Destiny raids of just doing a thing because that's what the encounter requires. Whereas up until that point, it takes a little bit of mental gymnastics, but everything made sense. The fact that at the bottom, when you flash the shield for Atheon, it says, Guardians choose their own fate. Like, that means you're rewriting. The Vex are trying to rewrite time, and you're saying, no, I choose how time goes, not you. Like, that is a powerful moment in the raid, lore wise, and I just don't get that at all from anything in Wrath of the Machine. It's like, all right, cool, shoot the TV screens. All right, cool, now you're running from this thing. All right, great. Well, this guy's here. Why don't you shoot him for a while?
I wonder if lore-wise you understand the whole thing about the Forsaken that have gone into the Siva plant. Like, they're the ones who are utilizing Siva to try to destroy us, to try to take it and use it, like, to generate their will with Siva to take back the Cosmodrome and defeat humanity.
Sure, but even that's real boring, man. In a game with space wizards and time lords, these guys are like, yep, we got this weapon and we're going to use it real good. Look out. We're regular dudes and now we're better. Look out.
Well, I mean, I guess we kind of figured out why this is number 10 on the list, right? Because out of 17, I liked it and you didn't like it at all. So that makes a lot of
Yeah,
sense.
maybe. Yeah, it's a good point. It's fine mechanically. It really is. Like, it is a totally fine encounter. It's just I hold raids to a higher esteem than that. If this was a strike, or if this was a story mission, this would be wonderful. This is great, whatever. But raids carry an extra weight to them that I feel like it doesn't hold the mantle that it should.
Oh man, day 1 of Last Wish in the Kali encounter, because of this raid, encounter with Vosik, where you have to run inside the same box to survive as a team.
Mm-hmm.
In the Kali encounter in Last Wish day 1, how many people got murdered because people tried to jump into the same room as you were into?
That's funny.
Yep. Number 9, Crota's End, the Abyss Lamp Maze.
Crota's End, the Abyss Lamp Maze. I don't remember that.
It's the first thing.
Very first thing.
Oh, right. Remember how we always used to make our friend run that? Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, and I think that's probably why it's number 9, is because it's another one of those encounters like the bridge that you either did and loved, or you just didn't really care for it too much because it was nothing to you, wherein people would just cheese it. Because you could either, so there's 2 ways you could handle it. You could either utilize the aggro mechanic and run through, like allowing a couple of people to run ahead and then let all the thrall chase them, and then you could just come through slowly and everyone could take their time and do it as a team. Or you could send one person on like the first or second lamp, and then just jump on up and then go to the rock, hang out there until the ogre came, kill him, and then like the bridge would raise.
Yep. Pretty much that.
It was, yeah, you could either do both. If you did the latter, then it really meant nothing to you. It was just something to get past. But if you did the first one, maybe it was a little bit more fun for you.
Yeah, I mean, it was mechanically beautiful, though. Like, running across the bridge, too, was pretty fun. It was an interesting mechanic, definitely. I liked it quite a bit.
I actually really liked the lamp maze, as long as you didn't cheese it. Eventually, everybody just got to the point where a hunter would go invisible, run to the end, jump on the lamps. But when you first started, like when that raid launched, I remember being so totally overwhelmed by the situation, the pitch black, the constant like bombardment of thralls. I really did feel like I was, racing against time, which is again what Bungie claims they were going for. That's the only part of that entire raid that actually feels like what they said they were trying to attempt, was that you were part of an action movie. You were making a quick, aggressive strike against Crota.
Oh yeah.
And so I really do like this, as long as you don't cheese it. But once you start cheesing it, of course, it's going to be low on the list because it's boring.
Yeah, it's appeal. But like you just said, I love that when you start this raid, you're thrown directly into the mix. They really pull no punches, As soon as you're in this encounter, you're in it. Like the things are going to chase you and they're going to kill you unless you get away from them.
Yeah.
And that chest being right in the beginning was pretty cool too.
It wasn't always in the beginning. Sometimes like it moved around and you would just wipe until it was in the first one.
Which was something you could do as a solo player, so that was pretty fun.
Right.
Number 8, and I'm kind of surprised that he's number 8, but it's King's Fall, Golgoroth.
I can see that being number 8. It's because those little explodey thralls were very irritating.
The cursed thrall that would just sneak up on you and wipe your team.
Yeah, I'd put that at number 8. It doesn't deserve. Yeah, no. Sure.
You're like holding the gaze 1 second, and then your whole team is just dead in the next. And you're like, wait, what happened, guys?
Oh yes, hold the gaze. I forgot about that.
I actually like Golgoroth, but I can see him being in the middle of the pack. He was fun. He was very challenging. I think in his time, he was probably one of the harder bosses that had ever been in a raid. Up to that point, I would want to say, for like a mid-tier boss.
Yeah, ogres don't do much for me as enemies. Every ogre encounter feels essentially the same. Find some way to be protected, and then when you're fine, do as much damage as possible, and then move on. I don't know. Just ogres in general frustrate me as Destiny bosses.
Are you more of a fan of Golgoroth or Swolgoroth from Last Wish?
Definitely Swolgroth because it's simpler. That's like his gaze doesn't do it doesn't do that much damage, which I appreciate. He's like the least actual powerful ogre in all of Destiny.
What's the other? There's another ogre that looks semi like Golgoroth, who's a EP boss.
Oh,
What's his name? He has like that same back thing going on, and his name is something like Golgoroth, and I can't remember what it is, but it's definitely like a nod to Golgoroth.
Yeah, Fogoth was from the original one. That was the hardest strike in my opinion too.
Oh, Fogoth? Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We should go into strikes at some point as well.
Yeah, that's a good topic. Man, I miss Destiny 1. I'm just throwing that out there.
Destiny 1 was a great time. There's a reason why people like clamoring for like Bungie to add in like a remastered version of Destiny 1 into D2, or to create a bigger shared Destiny universe that doesn't have a number, is just Destiny and incorporates everything. There are some really tremendously special experiences held within that first game, and King's Fall, Wrath of the Machine, Crota's End, Vault of Glass, all these raids, as much as we like to tear them apart in the different encounters, I don't think we would trade in our experiences in any one of them for anything. You know what I mean? Like, they're all super fun. Number 7, King's Fall, War Priest.
Love me some War Priest. Get those thralls. It was a good time. I like how everyone had their side that they had to maintain. Top left, mid, bottom left, whatever it was.
Yeah, so can somebody remind me about what the runes were for in this encounter?
So the way this worked is like pretty much people would keep the same teams that they had in the Basilica, right? I believe they would. Well, no, because you split up into 3 teams, wouldn't you? You had left, middle, and right, and then you would kill an ad, and then you'd send one person to look at the runes, and the rune would be lit up on either left, right, or mid, and then that team had to jump on their plate. And then when they jumped on, then another rune would come up. That team would jump on their plate, and then another team would jump on the last team would jump on their plate. And then the last person to jump on their plate would get a buff, or a debuff, I guess, but it would give them like that area of influence where like you could deal damage to the War Priest if you were in there, and it would be a 10-second countdown, and when that counted down to 0, it would kill you and then pass to the next person. But if you killed an ad, you could reset it.
Right. Yes. Okay, I remember that now. Yeah. This was a good encounter.
It was a solid encounter. I thought there was nothing wrong about this one. This is what Destiny raid encounters should be, honestly. Just hard enough with just enough teamwork involved.
Yeah, it's a good like midway point of that raid. And it's a good midway point of our list. Makes total sense.
What'd you think, Prox? You said you loved you some War Priest.
Yeah, I did. And I mean, it's the same reason why I love the Basilica, because you had teamwork, right? And yeah, you had someone calling out the ruins, but I remember doing that, like when you were holding down your side, right? If someone needed help with ads, you could call out for help. So I mean, again, like that's what I liked about the whole King's Fall raid, is that you had the potential for that hero moment. Like, you had the potential to rise to the occasion and support your team. Any raid that offers that ability for someone to really, show what, their expertise, their skill, I think it's a great achievement, right? Because like, what's the point of getting great weapons and great gear and becoming efficient at doing something if you don't get to show it off? Because otherwise you're just repeating everything on the same level every time. Then it gets dull.
Oh, absolutely. You know what I also loved is how intuitive that encounter was, because there's a point where the whole room's gonna like explode, and like the very first time in there, when you didn't even know what was going on, when you see that happening, you're like, oh shit, like the room's gonna explode. Oh wait, there's a pillar. Let's all stand behind this, and then you don't wipe, and it's like just that magic moment where it's like, I had this really crazy moment that was very stressful, but we just figured it out because this encounter is designed really well. So number 6 on the list, Vault of Glass, the Templar, the guy who kicked off everything, our very first encounter.
Knock him off the edge.
You can't knock Templar off the ledge.
Totally.
Not anymore.
Could
Yeah,
you?
not
Could you
anymore.
knock
Yeah.
Templar off the ledge?
What,
Yeah,
you
that was
never
like the
did that?
original
Yeah, that's how you
cheese.
did it. Yeah, you cheesed him
What?
and knocked him off the edge.
That wasn't
Yeah.
Templar. That was Atheon.
No, it was
no. It
Templar.
was a Templar too. You just backed him off the edge.
Yeah, he just threw grenades at him until he moved.
Yeah.
What? You could
Yeah,
throw them
arc
all off the
grenades.
ledge?
Yeah.
I thought I did that with you in that raid. In that raid, I was so sure.
No. I never cheesed Templar or Atheon. I know Atheon you could definitely do that too. I never knew Templar was the thing.
And that's why you never got the Fatebringer.
Oh,
You never
man.
got Fatebringer?
I never got Fatebringer. I did
Oh
that raid
my
so
God.
many times, and it never dropped for me.
How that's dude, you have you gotten the curated Nation to Beast yet?
I've yet to get. So I have, I think, 10 or 12, between 10 and 12 clears of Last Wish, and I have yet to get a single curated weapon or 1,000 voices.
That's
What? I have
my God.
every curated weapon and like multiple
Me too.
times over. How is it
Yeah.
you've never gotten them?
Well, let's see. I have like 4 marks, 3 boots, 3 3 chest
Oh,
pieces,
man.
a bunch of
Wow.
helmets, a couple of like 4 cloaks. I have about 13 Apex Predators.
God.
You don't even want to know how many Techian forces I have.
Oh man, I got the
Dude.
1,000 voices last night.
Oh man, I haven't
No,
gotten that
I didn't.
yet.
I just knew that would make Vigilant freak out.
That's unfortunate, man. You're gonna get that Nation of Beast. Fatebringer, I mean, look, I'm sorry to rub it in now, but if I had to pick a number 1 gun in all of Destiny, it'd probably be Fatebringer for me.
Boom. Fatebringer.
Yeah.
I never fired it. I never
Brings the
shot
fate, man.
Fatebringer.
Brings the fate.
Yeah. Although I'm not gonna lie, now that I have Malfeasance, I am loving that gun.
Yes.
I can't wait to actually use it with a full team that's using it because
Yeah.
I got it too.
Yeah. I'm excited.
We should
So
do
anyway,
that
back
later.
to Templar.
But
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, let's do
Yeah,
it later
right.
because I mean double infamy.
detour.
But back to Templar. Yeah, Templar was a lot of fun. I mean, Templar introduced is the very first raid encounter, and subsequently the very first raid cheese came out with Templar, where you could just have like your whole team stand on the ledge and not jump down to fight him, and they would be pretty much in safety from a sniper position.
Oh yeah.
That whole encounter was pretty fun, though. I mean, if you're gonna incorporate, I guess you could also incorporate like the Fanatics and the Oracles, and then Templar himself.
Oh yeah, the Oracles aren't on this list. I'm surprised. That's a whole separate encounter too, isn't it?
Yeah, well, kind of, but yeah, I mean, you could probably just lump them in with Templar. Honestly, it's all in the same little.
Yeah, that gets the number 3 spot.
Yeah, I feel like Vault of Glass Templar. If we're lumping Oracles in and stuff like that with it, I feel like I would have put that higher on my personal list. I love the Oracles for a lot of different reasons. I like the gameplay of it. I like the theming of it. I like the actual literal chime of it.
Yeah, I remember when when you go in and do the Oracles, they would spawn all of the like the Vex hordes on either side. I remember killing all those Vex. That was the first time when I was using the Red Death Pulse Rifle. God, that was a good gun too.
Oh gods, we were alive then.
Yeah, I know. Whew, alive with Destiny.
I had a weird life cycle with the Templar where when I first started playing it, everyone just did it legit, and then eventually we all got Icebringer and cheesed it. But by the end of D1, if you wanted to do that, it was actually simpler to just do it straight again. So it sort of had gone back to non-cheesing it because you could just do so much damage that it didn't make any sense to do anything special. You just ran it.
That's really funny.
Yeah,
because he's not a hard encounter when you have the damage. The challenge from him came from the same challenge that happens to all the early raiders in Destiny. Like whenever a new raid comes out, is that everyone's always under leveled, so you're not doing as much damage. So it takes a lot of damage phases, and he would actually enrage pretty quickly, right? If I remember correctly.
I think it was 3 cycles.
Yeah, and that was part of the challenge. Very, very fun encounter though. He definitely set the tone for what would later become the overall boss, like the level of quality of bosses in Destiny raids, and I liked it. I also spent so much time in that area with Templar, just exploring around that area of Vault of Glass, like just jumping on everything. So all in all, that entire that entire area was just really well designed. The boss was really well designed.
I'll tell you what. One of my favorite things about Vault of Glass is that entire area that is in between like the actual vault door and the Templar that just never used. Like there's this whole fully realized, completely rendered area down there that there's nothing there. There's no secrets, nothing. It's just an alternate way to get to the Templar. And I think that's marvelous.
Number 5 on the list is from Wrath of the Machine again, and it's the Siege engine.
Oh yeah, I guess Proxy doesn't have an opinion on this.
No, I can't really comment on that, unfortunately.
Yeah, Siege engine's cool. It's a cool concept, similar to the beginning of Crota's End, where it's just a race against time while you're under duress. It's fun, and I like things that require you to move quickly.
Probably like the most unique encounter in any Destiny raid. That thing was like, it reminded me of Mad Max in a way.
Yeah,
like,
no doubt, for sure.
Yeah, like with like the flames like shooting out and like everything going crazy. That was so much fun. And you have to just like grab the part and jump on and repair it real fast, and everyone's trying to do like something at the same time. Wow,
it's cool. I definitely enjoy this as a concept. I wouldn't have put it so high on my list. It's again because of Wrath of the Machine, but I respect people's enjoyment of this.
I love that the entire goal is to just get really over it and then like throw it off the wall.
Yeah, right.
It was pretty fun, pretty rewarding too when you see it all unfold.
Agreed.
So yeah, let's go ahead and jump on to number 4, Crota's End. Crota, son of Orcs.
Nope.
The first really big bad in the storyline. I mean, you can argue that Atheon's the raid boss from Vault, but realistically, like storyline wise, what does he matter? Crota in the overall storyline it plays a huge part, especially when you look at the lore with like him wiping out like an entire army of guardians and like taking their light and imbuing it into his sword. I mean, what a badass. And then you get to fight him is very cool. I mean, maybe the mechanics of the fight aren't that great because you just have one person running sword, everybody else running Galahorn, or else you can't play.
Yeah,
but I like this encounter. I think it's perfectly fine at number 4.
Yeah, I agree. I liked it. It was a good fight. The mechanics were solid. It was certainly entertaining. It was fun to blast him with Galahorn. That was true. I think I would personally put it lower on the list, but I mean, given that it was a raid boss, and I think I think number 4 is a good spot for it.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing is that the top 4 are all raid bosses. And that goes to say that, like, or that goes for saying that, like, Bungie is very good at creating raid bosses, like, encounters. Like, their raid boss encounters are unrivaled. Obviously, they're the top 4. And I would say that out of the top 4, Crota is probably the weakest of the 4, honestly.
True.
I hate this here. I think Crota is so lame. I hate every single bit of that encounter. I think he is literally lame. Like all he does is like stand there and waddle from left to right. It's like, oh no, here I come, guys! Watch out! I'm gonna get you. Oh, you moved. You moved. I guess I'm just gonna stand here. All right. It's gonna take me too much effort to waddle over to that side. So why don't you just shoot me for a while I rest? I don't know. And then again, we've beaten it to death that we like encounters. Well, at least Proxy and I don't want to speak for you. But we like encounters where everyone feels involved, and this is the exact opposite of that. It's like, all right, you five stand there, and when I say go, you go, and then you just shoot a bunch of rockets, and then one person hits him with a sword a few times, and then he waddles to the other side. I don't know. It's just this is so lame, and again, his story is interesting. You're correct. Like lore wise, Crota's very interesting, but like you don't get any of that from this encounter. He doesn't feel imposing at all. It's like, all right, look out, here he comes, big baddie. Oh, he's slightly taller than us. All right, that's cool.
I mean, yeah, he should have had some sort of voice lines. He should have been more imposing. But the story, like villains at that point in Destiny weren't really well done per se until Oryx came along.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say until his pop showed up.
Yeah, I mean, villains need personality, and Crota kind of lack that. But at the same point in time, I think he was like the perfect cap to like the first raid layer. And that might be controversial, but I think like the great thing about Crota's End was that when you had all of the raids lined out and you could go do either one, if you only had a little bit of time to do a raid, you could do Crota's End real fast, you know?
That's true.
That's true. Yeah.
And he was just challenging enough. He did require some teamwork to at least get to him and then beat him, but I don't know. I liked him. I like him. I definitely think he's the lesser of the raid bosses, but I think his place is pretty solid at number 4.
Yeah, I certainly did. I did enjoy the raid lair. Yeah, I'd call it that. Crota's End. It was good. Yeah. I don't think I've ever had a boss fight in actually any raid that I didn't like. So you're quite right. Bungie's really good when it comes to bosses.
I really hate the Eater of Worlds. Eater of Worlds? What's the last raid lair from the Leviathan?
Oh, Valcor?
Spire of Stars.
Spire of Stars. I really hate that boss fight.
I've never done it.
I don't know what it is. It's just so annoyingly complex. And it's broken half the time because at one point you have to throw like little balls into the dude's hand, and you'll just throw it right through his hand. It's like, okay, cool. I guess we wipe because this game is broken.
That fight is like brings all the joys to the table of a like collaborative group project in school.
Yeah, that is the perfect example.
So number 3, King's Fall, Oryx, the Taken King.
Hell yeah. Came in there like a boss, and then we beat him, and he floated away like, he was nothing.
That's probably the best ending to any raid in all of Destiny, is when you kill Oryx and he floats away, disintegrating into Saturn. By far the coolest.
Yeah,
the most rewarding.
Sure.
I mean, you take that and you compare it to Leviathan when you beat Callus, and then it's not Callus, the old bait and switch. And that one didn't feel rewarding at all. Like, who cares after you kill a robot, especially when you get brought to a room with 1,000,000 robots? Nothing matters in that raid. But when you kill Oryx, especially with the lore surrounding him, you feel that weight in the universe just lifted, and the weight on yourself, because it's like a incredibly long raid, you know?
Yeah, that was a truly epic. Like when he first appears, and it's just so big, and you're like, oh my god, how are we gonna this guy's not gonna waddle. I'm never gonna beat him. I don't know, it's just so awesome when you get to Oryx and he's so big there. It's marvelous.
Yeah, I know. I think that's the best entrance any boss has ever made.
Yeah,
like even Riven, like Riven was cool looking first time you see Riven, but Oryx came in like a badass. Like when he grabbed the ship and he just leans in, you're like, holy shit.
So it is I find it kind of interesting, and I'm just thinking about this now, that in an Ascendant realm, whoever owns the realm can appear however they want to appear. And that's why Oryx ends up appearing to us so big, because that's how he forces himself to crush us. But he gets limited by the environment, which is the hollowed out shell of Akka, the worm god that he killed, right? I believe it was Akka. I could be wrong on the name on that. So he gets limited. So he makes himself huge to crush us, but he can't because the environment is pretty much in the way and allows us to kill him. And it's made of the worm god that he killed to get the taken power, right? So it's a weird kind of like back and forth between that worm god carcass and Oryx's will trying to crush us. You know what I mean?
Never thought of it that way.
Interesting.
It's interesting to think about. I just thought about it that way.
That encounter is cool too. Like, it's another high stress encounter with a lot of teamwork involved.
So, number 2, and I feel bad that Proxy can't actually talk about this, Wrath of the Machine, Axis, Archon Prime.
Boy, I don't get this at all. I actually rewatched the video. I'm like, maybe there's something I don't remember. This is so boring. He just stands there, man.
No, this fight. So I gotta say, this fight was perfectly designed, because you have that whole thing where you have to where people get empowered, where you have to get like the correct rocket launchers to shoot the servitors, right? And then you have to get the power and then dunk him and then shoot him. Like every section of this fight is stressful. It's timed. It's you have to blow up the things on his body. The what are they called? They're like the were they mines? I completely forget what they're called, but you have to blow them up. The mites. You have to blow them up and get to the damage phase as quickly as possible. And it was hard. This fight was challenging, and I really liked it. I don't know. I can't believe you thought it was boring. I thought it was a very, very good time, and never lacked for any amount of excitement on my part.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, the entire raid has never done anything for me. Because again, what appeals to me is the theming of it. And I remember being impressed by the animations of Axis. Like from going from Atheon to Crota to Axis, was a huge difference. Like he felt way more alive, way more interactive, stuff like that. But there just wasn't an epic feel to the end of this raid, especially coming off of King's Fall, where we fought a giant space demon, to fight a relatively tiny like machine robot or machine spider. It's like, I don't know. And you're right, it was more complex than I give it credit for. Like I had forgotten the parts with the specific elemental scorch cannons.
Mm-hmm.
But as a whole, I don't know. He teleports around, and you every now and then you dunk something into his back. But as a whole, it just doesn't tickle my pickle the way I need it to.
Oh, I love that fight, man. I thought it was a lot of fun, and never at any point in time during that fight do you feel like you absolutely have it. It's a blast right from the beginning to the end. More than any other boss encounter. I guess Oryx had this too. Atheon and Crota really didn't have it because they're kind of like a slow consistent burn that you're I don't think you're as stressed for killing them. But Axis, man, you have, like, everyone has to be working on your team. Get that teamwork in there to make sure everyone's on the same page, and then to get everyone into place. And it could be someone random to get empowered, right? So it's interesting. I liked it. I feel like number 2 is perfectly fine. Number 1 on the list,
and rightly so.
Yeah, and rightfully so,
is the jumping puzzle. The hive ships from Kingfall.
Yep.
No, number 1 is Vault of Glass, Atheon times Conflux.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
What can we say? Vault of Glass. First massive Destiny raid. First vault. It's made out of glass. It's great.
Atheon set the tone for what we need from a boss encounter. Very, very simply. He was hard. Everyone needed to be working together to get the when you killed the oracles, you had to make sure everyone was cleansed. You're all in the middle, you're fighting him. I don't know, it was a good time. He had some of the best rewards tied to him, a couple of exotics, right? The Vex Mythoclast was awesome. And nothing beats like the very first time you complete a raid, whatever raid it is in Destiny for you, your very first raid completion will feel like something special to you. And Atheon was that for a lot of people, certainly for all 3 of us, I would imagine. That fight is just designed so well with the whole like Mars side, the Venus side, inside the gates.
And like those red oracles that you have to shoot and stuff like that. I don't know. Vault of Glass, the final, by the time you get to Atheon, everything, it just comes together so well, and it's a great lesson in game design because it's incorporating all the things that you've encountered before in the raid. It's like, okay, well, we've used the relic before. Now we need to do it again. And you need to shoot oracles before they wipe you. So you need to do that and all this stuff. Like, a good game iterates on its ideas and then gives you a test at the end. It's like, here's how you do this. All right, we're making it harder. Now we'll combine it with something else and we're going to test you. It's such a brilliant example of good game design beyond just being wonderfully fun.
Oh yeah, I gotta say the raid designers for Destiny have always done that. Every raid teaches you how to do the rest of the raid. Like every raid encounter builds upon like the previous raid encounter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very, very well designed in that way. And Atheon was the perfect culmination of hours of gameplay beforehand. I mean, for your first time, it's probably gonna take a few hours. It definitely took me like 3 hours, I think.
Hmm.
The funny thing is, like, I think the world's first clear for this was something like 14 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. Like,
Can you imagine? But it makes total sense because, as we stated at the beginning of this, Destiny raids are a completely different thing. They have their own vocabulary that you need to learn. And it's just so wonderful.
Atheon's a good time. Watching him go down the first time, I think everyone screamed like when you first get him. The amount of enthusiasm that just pours from you on your very first on the very first Destiny raid encounter, it can't be matched. Other than that, I don't think he was that hard, but he definitely holds a special place in everyone's heart.
Agreed. I mean, he was difficult for sure, but not, comparatively. I mean, he's again borderline cute compared to King's Fall or oh, man, why can't I remember that doofus's name from the Leviathan?
Oh, Callus?
Callus. Yeah. Do you think are we ever going to get story resolution on him? Did it happen and I missed it?
So, yes, he's in the Valcor encounter, but then like he kind of like thinks of you as his guardian, as like his kind of like a pet, I think almost, because you do help him defeat Valcor from taking over the Leviathan.
Oh, but like, do we care? I don't know.
He's a servant of the darkness, right?
Callus is?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
I believe so.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the big bad of Vanilla D2, if you want to count Callus, which I kind of do. I feel like I've been kind of left hanging with him. Like the Leviathan's just chilling outside of Nessus, right? And it's just there, I guess.
I think in the final raid of like whenever Destiny makes its final raid, I think it's likely that we'll see Callus and Savathun in that raid. Maybe not. Maybe Savathun's coming in D3, but I think that they're building them up to be kind of like the Axis of Evil.
That's fun. I like that. I'm on board with that.
We can certainly hope. So that wraps up our on topic segment. Stay tuned next week for part 2 of this, where we go into detail on all of the raid encounters in Destiny 2. Posts for this topic should be available starting tomorrow, which is Saturday, through Friday. So you guys will have a whole entire week to go ahead and vote on that. We'll make those links available on our Facebook, on our WordPress, which is dbgpodcast.wordpress.com. And I'll link them on Twitter as well. And on Reddit, if for all of you guys who check out Destiny the game on Reddit, or r/Destiny2, I'll post them there as well. But check them out and vote, because like having 600 votes for this was incredibly useful. I think we got a very solid list that's very indicative of people's overall experience. And we thank you guys if you voted in this. We thank you very much. Extremely helpful. Let's go ahead and give out the third code word for our Forsaken giveaway. Code word number 3 is Ariana 3. Code word number 3, Ariana 3. So there you go. Go ahead and make that post on our Facebook and get yourself a copy of Forsaken. Now, jumping into the question segment, Killagreg, take it away.
Hey, all right. Macro Sirs 135 via Instagram. What's the most Titan weapon in the game other than Sweet Business and Risk Runner?
All right, who's going to take that first?
You can take that first.
I can take it. All right, I'll take it. Yeah, Sweet. I was going to say other than Sweet Business, I was like, that's pretty Titan. I don't see how Risk Runner is Titan at all.
I don't get that either.
Yeah, no, I don't get that one either. That's a better question. Why did he ask that?
Yeah.
But man, oof. I'm gonna have to go with. Wait. Is it any weapon or is it an exotic weapon? He named 2 exotics, so I'm gonna have to say it's probably an exotic weapon, right?
Oh, it's exotic. Oh man, I was gonna go with.
I don't think it has to be. It doesn't specify that.
Well, he dropped 2 exotics, so I'm gonna go with exotics. I'm gonna say the Legend of Acura's shotgun.
Oh, that's a good one. Damn, that's a good one.
Seems very Titan-y, yeah, to me.
Oh man, I was going to go a shotgun as well and say Balagant because that just feels very Titany. Um, but man, as far as exotics go, maybe no, not chaperone because that's like precision damage. It's almost like a hunter shotgun.
Yeah, Chaperone's definitely a hunter one.
I think shotguns are the right answer, honestly. Is there any more exotic shotguns that I'm missing?
You want to know why it's shotguns? It's because Zavala uses shotguns in all the cutscenes, like when
Well,
he's
it's a very
fighting.
Titany thing to do, right?
Yeah, but in the cutscene when he's fighting the Cabal, right? Like he uses a shotgun to kill them, and it's an Ikello shotgun that he uses, or not an Ikello shotgun. It's a Legend of Acurus looking shotgun. So that's what you see him using. That's
I mean,
why.
it's like the very tiniest thing you can do. It's like shoulder charge, like arc smash, easy, shotgun.
Exactly.
The Titans have like I know it's not a exotic, but they have like a legendary sword that's Titan exclusive, right?
Yeah, and it's a massive claymore. That's a good one.
Yeah, like I know this is a little bit of a cop out, but to me that feels like the most Titan weapon. Just a big, bulky metal piece of sword, just hit people with.
Yeah, no, I'll give it to you. Yeah, no, that's definitely feels the most Titan. Yeah, I'll go with that.
I'm gonna go with play of the game grenade launcher.
Play the game. Oh, fun. Yeah, it even has like a little Titan thing on the side.
Yeah.
All right.
That's my choice.
All right. This is coming from Gamer Boy, BOI, but not with an 8. From Instagram. When do you think Savathun will be introduced?
Destiny 3.
Yeah. No. Sorry. Go ahead, Roxy.
The end of Destiny 2.
Yeah, I think the final DLC. If Destiny 3 is 2 years out, that means at the end of this year we're going to get another Forsaken type thing. That's going to be Savathun.
I can see that. I really hope that they introduce her for more than just one game. Like I hope that she's not just like a boss that comes and goes. I hope she's more of a ongoing presence.
Yeah, the lore setup for Savathun is pretty good too. So I mean, like with the whole murder battery thing.
Yeah. Super good.
What if we get Xivu or Wrath first? I feel like we're gonna get Xivu or Wrath first, honestly.
Yeah, as like a strike boss.
There you go.
Well, I mean, Xivu or Wrath is the other sibling of Oryx and Savathun, right?
Yeah. But we also murdered a worm god with an assault rifle, so obviously they don't quite understand scale in this game. Markiplier via Instagram. What are your favorite strikes/missions?
So I have one for either one. My absolute favorite strike would be Warden of None. And then my favorite mission would be Homecoming.
Which one is Homecoming?
Man.
So Homecoming is the mission where you go fight Dominus Gull. Now the reason I love this mission is because when Destiny 2 first came out, this mission marks like the first time in the entire game where you're on a mission where other people can randomly join in into that instance, and you can like interact with other people going through that same mission. And there's like this really triumphant version of Journey from the Destiny soundtrack playing, and it's really, really, really fun. And with that soundtrack and with the gameplay as it's progressing, it produces something special. And that's like, I think the last 2 missions in the Destiny 2 campaign were really, really well done.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say the exact same thing. Those are the 2 missions that I was gonna pick in terms of missions and strikes. And I really don't mean to like, give such a short and copy-ish kind of answer, but those are the exact 2 I would have picked.
Does it have to be from Destiny 2?
No.
So my favorite strike is the Sunless Cell, which came out with the King's Fall one. That's the one where you fight the Darkblade at the end. I like that entire strike, and I just really adore that fight. Like, the music that plays is just oppressive, and like seeing only his glowing brain as he like teleports around, tries to slam with that axe. I really love that strike. As far as mission goes, I honestly don't really have a good answer. I don't love missions in Destiny. It's just something I get through so I can do the fun stuff.
That challenge to get your exotic sword from him was incredibly hard but fun.
What was it?
Where you had to you had to time your killing of him. Right? Didn't you have to kill did you have to kill multiple of them, like multiple knights, and then him
No, I
at the
don't know.
same time?
That's kind of fun.
I think it was with
Yeah.
a certain element, wasn't it?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I know it was timed though, and it was very, very hard.
Oh yeah, it was hard. Yeah, I remember you actually helped me do that. I remember it wasn't easy.
Oh, I definitely did, yeah.
All right. Marcus via the internet asked, too soon for D3 rumors? Should Bungie continue to pump out new Destiny titles or just make a new DLC like other games?
Both.
Yeah.
Both. We're certainly getting D3 rumors already.
Yeah.
From Anon, but it is too early for it, honestly. They just started working on it as far as I know.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. I don't know. I'm eager for a new. I don't know. I want D3. I'd rather have D3 than just big expansions.
I'm fine with both. The only thing that I would say is I don't mind getting rumors for D3, like story rumors, because I'm like, yeah, sure, I'm sure the story is, pretty available in large chunks. So I'm fine with that. I think it's way too early for D3, and I don't mind DLC coming out for this game because this game right now is in such a good place. More DLC, more content, more refinement, better.
Yeah, I don't mind Destiny 2 getting more DLC, especially for a whole nother year. I'm perfectly fine with that. The problem you're going to run into is that Destiny isn't just a PC experience; it's also on console, and we're due to have the new generation of systems coming out. So therefore, it's not like WoW that just exists on PC where you can just keep the same world and expand it. You gotta go with the new title when the new systems come out. It's just there's no question about it.
Yeah, and we look like we're about a year and a half out from the next iteration of consoles, so I feel like D3 will probably come out either with those or immediately following.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Last question from Kelsey. What are you guys hoping to come out? What are you guys hoping to come out of the Black Armory DLC?
Very simply, I can't wait for Icebreaker, which is rumored to come out with it. I can't wait for Thunderlord. I can't wait for all of the heavy machine guns, and more importantly, I'm hoping for more perks and more mods. If we can get those, I think it'll make the gear even more exciting. Because at this point, we're getting to the stale place where we're just kind of looking for very specific roles, and it'd be nice to have things mixed up a little bit, I think.
More perks, more mods, and I want my gunsmith to be able to do some gunsmithing.
Season of the Forge, man. Season of the Forge.
Yeah, that better be literal forge, as in forging things.
Now, do we think there's any chance that because the map creator from the Halo games was called the Forge, do we think there's any chance that like customizable Crucible maps comes out?
Ooh, that would be so awesome.
That would be exciting. I don't know how likely we are to see that. I think we're probably more likely to see, like Proxy was saying, like a mechanic wherein we can change things or take perks off of guns or put them on or something like that.
Yeah.
That's definitely what I see happening, but man can dream.
A nice thing for Crucible would be if, you could vote on maps when you go in, like it would show you the available maps and players could vote on it. That'd be cool. Or if we could add in our own modifiers, like imagine, we were playing Crucible and we had like Brawler on, so like or Blackout, so there's no mini map. Putting on modifiers like that for Crucible would be pretty fun.
Yeah, the complete lack of customization in the Crucible really drives me insane, considering Bungie's pedigree. I was reminiscing the other day about SWAT in, I think, Destiny or Halo 3, and then in Reach, which was just a sidearm and assault rifle, no shields, no mini map, and it was the best. And it was a user created mod that they eventually put into the game, but you can't do anything like that. I crave no supers in Destiny PvP, and you just can't even choose it.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. Also, we should have the ability to play with a solo queue instead of having to play against like a 6-stack as a solo player every time.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, we're off topic, but I mean, it was it's a really good thing to see added into the game. Definitely, I think.
All right, moving on to gaming news. Proxy, take us away with gaming news.
All right, gaming news. We got a few things this week. Some entertaining, some tragic, but we'll get around to all of it. First news: Red Dead Redemption 2 Online is coming out towards the end of the month, which is great. That's going to be very exciting. Red Dead's been doing really good. Online play is going to be hopefully fantastic. So that's going to be a nice little announcement. I know, Ed, you picked up Red Dead. Have you played it at all?
Yeah, I just finished chapter 1 and it's a good time. I'm having fun with it. I'm at the part where I'm just about to, I think, get out and be able to explore the world a little bit, and that's probably where the fun in the game is.
Yeah, definitely. That's where it's definitely going to pick up.
Yeah, I mean, I just basically finished the tutorial, so I'm excited to play some more.
That's what I was telling you the other day. Like after you get through the tutorial, it's like somewhat boring, but it really picks up after that. The next little news that I'm going to talk about very quickly before we get into one of the more interesting and tragic things that happened this week. I was just going to talk about the Division, because we were talking about Destiny, the Black Armory, and weapons. The Division 2, what they have coming out is they released information about exotic weapons, because anyone who played the original Division knows that exotics were, while they might have looked aesthetically interesting, they didn't really do a whole lot. But Ubisoft has said that exotic weapons in Destiny or Destiny 2 in the Division 2 are going to work like exotics do in Destiny, whereas you can equip like, because in the Division in the first game you could equip a whole set of exotics, like all weapons and all gear. So they changed it now that you're going to be able to equip one weapon or one gear piece, but only one, not one of each. And they're going to be very powerful and significantly change how your character functions. They're also going to be linked to story missions. And if you complete the story mission and get the exotic weapon very early in the game, you can actually progress with it, upgrade it as you go through the story, and there will be more interactions and like lore related to the weapon or gear piece you get, which is like
That's
really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting. That's a game that we're definitely eagerly awaiting. We all are anticipating with bated breath. You know, we're all watching that game. So let's see what happens with it.
Yeah, but I mean, now on to the more. I know, I know, Vigilant, you were really excited by this. Diablo Immortal.
Oh, you mean the future upcoming #1 mobile game in the world?
Stow the sarcasm.
No, man.
Yeah, that's just Killagreg. Have you heard a lot about Diablo Immortal?
I'm aware of the situation.
Aware of the situation.
The internet is ablaze right now.
Well, that's the internet's job to overreact to everything. So,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know how they. Truthfully, the biggest issue here is that Blizzard should have known that people like to overreact about things. You know, I mean, like Valve has the common sense to not come out with Half-Life 2 portable.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we should clear this up for the viewers just a little bit, in being that it was at BlizzCon like this past week. Like for a while now, you know, Blizzard, they were teasing, you know, some relevant Diablo news to come out, right? So everyone was they hyped it a lot. So everyone was expecting, you know, like a remaster of Diablo 2, the classic game, or some news about Diablo 4. But the only news that they dropped was about Diablo Immortal, which was like a mobile playable game, like a rehash of Diablo 3. And it's not even coming out on PC. It's just on Android and iOS. Like, you know, yeah. I don't think it's bad news. I think it's good news. Like, any news of Diablo in news is good, but I think they hyped it wrong. and they really misplaced the release of it, because they even had it come out after they reviewed, like, I think it was like the remaster of World of Warcraft 3, right? So, and then they're like, Diablo news, and so they hyped it so much, everyone was just thinking a remaster of Diablo 2, and then bam, Diablo Immortal mobile game. Like, they hyped it to a room full of hardcore PC gamers. I mean, wow.
Right.
Yeah, you got to know your audience.
Yeah, I mean, like, forgive me for saying, but I mean, the balls those hosts had, and then quickly, the crowd castrated them. Like, I watched the whole live stream, and like, I watched the hype building up to it, and it was like the worst gaming bait and switch I had ever seen. It was painful to watch. I literally had to pause the stream.
This game goes over fine if they just come out and have a trailer for Diablo 4 as well, or they come out and say, "Hey, we're working on Diablo 4. It's gonna be worth the wait. It's gonna be special." Like, if they do any of that, but what they did was they like got people super excited for what they thought was Diablo 4, and then it's this game. And you got to know your crowd. They shopped it to the wrong crowd, and the reactions were pretty justified from that perspective, I think.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just no. It's exactly that. I mean, they hyped it wrong, but no. If they would have had some other news whatsoever, people would be ecstatic that they're making a mobile game. And I don't even think that people are really upset about Diablo Immortal. I think what people are really upset about now is that they're worried, like the thought that's going on is like, what the hell is Blizzard doing? What are they thinking? I think that's what really upset people. For like a company that's so beloved in a game series that's so beloved, they just like kind of lost prospect of what they wanted, or what their viewer base wants.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I mean, every now and then you got to kind of get put back on track through some harsh criticism. No company is going to do it correctly forever. You know what I mean? In the end of the day, I think people will be happy when Diablo 4 releases, and this game will probably be forgotten by that time, but we'll see.
Hopefully. Moving away from that, we've got there was some more Anthem news that came out, basically from the gameplay. BioWare, they did a nice thing. They gave a little nod out to the Mass Effect series, and what basically made their company famous, in that they said that the cosmetic customization for the suits, first you can earn cosmetics out in the world, and they aren't linked to any kind of powers or ability that your character has. But they also released an N7 armor set, which is the armor that Commander Shepard in the Mass Effect series wore. So that's a nice little nod to their fan base, which is a nice thing to do. And what was it? It was they released various points about what you can do in terms of roaming the free world in Anthem, saying that they're going to have, similarly to what Destiny has with public events, whenever you're out looking around for things, there's also going to be enemy factions in the game that are going to have suits, javelins as they're called, just like the player has.
Now, are they like public events when the game is not multiplayer in that way? I don't know that you can call them public events, honestly. Because isn't the game limited to four player?
Well, I mean, Destiny is limited to 3 people when you're in a fire team. Like, so you're limited to 4 in a fire team. Now, they haven't really stated as such if you won't be able to run into other players, so we don't really know exactly just yet. I'm hoping that they will be, public events. That'd be great. In terms of gaming news, I mean, that's the real big stuff so far this week. There's also there's also the news about the Fallout 76 beta that came out, which was pretty rough to say the least. In terms of that, Bethesda just released a couple statements saying that they're going to be working on it and fixing a lot of major issues. Kind of terrifying to think that game is supposed to come out this month, though. But in terms of gaming news, the big news was Diablo Immortal, and that's it for now.
All right, that will wrap up our gaming news segment, and that wraps up the episode. This has been the longest episode so far of the Destiny Beyond Gaming podcast.
You're welcome. Next week, 3 hours.
Thank you guys for listening. If you stuck with us this far, we have been the Destiny and Beyond Gaming Podcast. I'm Vigilant. You can find us all on Facebook and Twitter at DBG Podcast. You can find us now on WordPress at dbgpodcast@wordpress.com. Yeah, but thanks for listening, guys. Proxy, go ahead and sign yourself off. I think Proxy's
silence. Oh, Proxy.
Killagreg.
Hey, I'll say goodbye. I'm Killagreg. You can find me at Killagreg17 on Twitter. You can find everything I do at idiotswithmics.com.
We'll see you guys later. Have a good rest of your day. And if you're entering the giveaway, good luck. We'll see you guys later.